Next decides to grow at, say, 10% per annum, the labels business and also their own Next business. But then margins cannot be sort of 18%. They need to go down, maybe not to the ASOS level, because they need to care about EBIT margins, as you say, or otherwise, eventually it's going to be X growth, and they're just going to invest in marketing that is necessary to keep existing customer base, excluding churn and excluding the existing brands, and then EBIT may be sustainable, but then you don't grow, right? So what's your opinion on it?
My opinion is I actually think that ASOS have got the more sustainable model. So I think that ASOS at the moment, they do operate on very low EBIT margins, but I know that, and we always knew that would be a case in the short to medium term, but I think that the idea is longer term that would grow as they get more operationally efficient. So the investment is in growing the customer base, in keeping the customer happy, so making everything as easy as possible for the consumer. And I think that has been fueling their growth. But there's also been some big investments from ASOS recently, which would have hit their margins. So they've invested in price in their international territories. And I think they are now probably in a place where they've got that right. So that will start to fuel their international growth. And I think, again, they'll get better efficiencies in how they operate their international business. So, they'll open their US warehouse, whereas at the moment, the stock that services the US is shipped from the UK. And so there's a lot of logistics costs in that. So when they open their US warehouse, they'll ship the stock direct to the US warehouse, whereas at the moment they're handling it twice effectively. So I think I think for ASOS, there's a lot of things that have hit their margins, but I think that they'll start to get those back as they scale, they become bigger in more territories. They've kind of got the UK cracked, but they've still got a lot of work to do in their international business, even though that's a bigger proportion for them now.
Right, and it's interesting what you said, but obviously, talking about margins, the overall aggregate EBIT margin is obviously 3 to 4%, say, or 2%. But then this is a mixture. I guess they make at the moment all of their money in private label, no? So because if you obviously I don't think the operating cost structure between the branded business and the non-branded and the private label business is very different, is it? The amount of marketing you spend and personnel must be similar.
Oh, for ASOS?
Yes.
Yes, no, it is. It'll be very similar.
So they're probably at best breaking even with brands.
And
making all their money in private label.
Yeah, on some of them. But I guess, there's a very much an ethos of give the customer what they want. So if they have to take a loss leader on a brand because it's what customers want and it makes them shop on the ASOS platform, then that is what they will do.
Yeah. And at the time you were there, were brands not, call it concerned, but obviously it's great for them because maybe they can grow some wholesale sales, but at the same time, I guess ASOS Points was also to drive traffic on the website to sell more of their private labels. So weren't they concerned, but you basically, weren't they feel used, if you want, by ASOS because of that and saying,
Well, actually, you're not quite right on that. So ASOS weren't using the brands purely to drive their private label. That is not the ethos at all.
Yeah.
ASOS's mantra is give the consumer what they want. And so, I actually brought Boohoo online in ASOS, and a lot of people were like, "Why are you doing that? They're an online competitor." But we were very much of the view of our customer is shopping Boohoo. We may as well have them shopping Boohoo on our platform as opposed to them going somewhere else. And that would be an additional item in their basket. So we weren't necessarily attracting brands to grow the private label. It was more about growing the basket size, growing the business totally. So no, I don't think brands were particularly feeling used. What I would say is brands initially would get very worried about the ASOS going on ASOS cannibalising their sales, but in my experience that generally didn't happen. So what it would do, it would actually give the brands greater awareness